Hey everybody, it's Bjorn, aka Bjorn to Sell, your trusted guide to real estate here in Minnesota. And today we're talking about something that comes up a lot in the home buying and selling process here in Minnesota, and that's wells. Whether you're buying, selling, or already own a home with a well, it's important to understand how they work and what your responsibilities are. Now, before we dive in, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and give this video the old thumbs up if you find it helpful. I put out new real estate tips every week, and I want to make sure that you don't miss them so I can help you navigate every step of your home buying or home selling journey. All right? Well, let's get on into this. First off, what exactly is a well? Well, that's a private water source that pulls groundwater up to your home for things like drinking, washing, irrigation, and anything you use water for. Instead of being connected to a city water system, your home draws from the natural aquifer underground. Wells are most common in rural areas. If you're buying a property outside of city limits in Minnesota, there's a strong chance you'll be dealing with a private well. But even in town, around places like St. Cloud and the surrounding communities, we actually do frequently run into wells that are being used for other non-drinking purposes. The big takeaway here is it's important to know when a well is part of the property, even if it's not the main source for water. Now here is a key point. Owning a home with a well should not scare you away. It just means there are a few extra things you need to be aware of and a few extra steps to take to protect yourself. Let's talk about buying a home with a well. In Minnesota, whenever a property is being sold, the seller must disclose the location and status of any wells on the property. This is a requirement under Minnesota state law. If a well is in use, it has to meet health and safety standards. If a well is not being used anymore, it must be properly sealed by a licensed professional to avoid contamination to the groundwater. We don't just want a bunch of random holes in the earth. That's kind of what it comes down to. As a buyer, you will want to do a water test before closing. This usually checks for things like bacteria, nitrates, arsenic, and lead. Some lenders, especially if you're using government-backed financing like FHA or VA or USDA, will require proof that the water meets safety standards before they will approve your loan. You will also want to verify that the well system is in good working order. This usually involves hiring a well contractor or inspector who specializes in water systems. They will check the pump, the pressure tank, and the overall condition of the system to make sure there are no immediate repairs needed. Another thing to ask about is well records. The Minnesota Department of Health recommends that the seller provide a copy of the well disclosure certificate. This document shows the location of the wells and their current status. If a seller does not have this paperwork, it may delay your closing or require additional steps to track down the information. Now, let's shift to owning and maintaining a well. If you own a home with a well, regular maintenance is critical. Water quality should be tested every year, even if your lender does not require it. That's a good recommendation. And the mechanical parts of the system, like the pump, should be inspected regularly to avoid costly repairs. They can add up. Trust me, I know. And you also need to protect the wellhead area. Avoid storing chemicals, fuels, or anything that can contaminate the soil near your well. It's common sense, but as we know, common sense ain't so common. And if you notice changes in water taste, color, or pressure, get it checked right away. Water safety is not something that you want to gamble with. One thing that I always emphasize is that wells are not a negative feature. In fact, some buyers actually prefer them because you're not having to pay for a water bill every month and you have that ability and access to your own water. It's just another part of home ownership that requires education and smart decision making. If you're selling a home with a well, there are a few steps that you need to take to make sure the process goes smoothly. First, make sure your well disclosure paperwork is complete and accurate. Second, If you've had any recent water tests done, have that documentation ready to share with the buyers. Third, if the well is no longer in use, be prepared to either have it properly sealed before closing or negotiate how that will be handled with the buyer. And here's something specific to our areas. Even within the St. Cloud area and parts of central Minnesota, some homes in city neighborhoods have these separate irrigation wells like we talked about. These wells absolutely still need to be disclosed. They need to be properly maintained or sealed if they're no longer used. So even if you're buying a home in town, do not assume that it's only rural properties that have wells. Always ask the questions and do your homework. At the end of the day, whether you're buying, selling, or owning a home with a well, it comes down to awareness and smart preparation. Working with knowledgeable professionals, asking the right questions, and staying proactive makes all the difference. And please remember this video is only a starting point. Every property and every well is different. If you're buying or selling, work closely with your agent, your lender, and your inspectors to make sure that every box is checked. And when in doubt, ask, ask, ask. It's better to take your time and be confident than to rush through and miss something important. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And give me the old thumbs up. It helps out a ton. Now, maybe you're thinking of buying or selling your home. Well, you know what to do. Visit bjorntosell.com to connect with me. And you can also grab your free copy of my home buyers or home sellers guide right below there in the description. I'll be back next week with another great informational video. So until then, be kind to one another.